First Nun Qal Imperative. Okay, we've looked at the imperfect. Now let's look at another prefix form, the imperative. What happens is that this is where you start to see different behavior based on theme vowel. Now remember, I said that of the three that I gave you nagash, nafal, and natain, or natan. Natan, of course, is the most irregular. But between nagash and nafal, nafal is the one, this one here, that is the closest to the strong verb because it has the holum theme vowel. So yipol is the closest to yifkod. Now this one here, that is the closest to the strong verb, it has completely regular imperatives. The nun is there, the pei is there, everything's there just as if it were pakad. So you have nifol, just like you'd have pikod. In the strong verbs, this would be pikod, pikdi, pikdu, pikodna. Here we have nifol, nifli, niflu, nifolna. Okay, everything's normal. And you can see here there is a holum there. It's just smashed up against that stress mark. So nifolna, just like pikodna. Okay, so the qal imperatives for first nuns, some are regular, some are not, and that is dependent on theme vowel. If the theme vowel is holum, which is the one that's closest to the strong verb, then it's completely regular. Okay, what about the other one, nagash? Nagash is the verb that has the patach for the theme vowel. And what you get with the patach is a shortened form. These here are all what they call shortened imperatives. And what happens is the nun drops. It doesn't actually assimilate. It looks like it may have assimilated because you see the dot there, right? But that dot is a dagash lene. And you know this from verbs that don't have a begat kafat letter there. So if you had a verb that had something other than a begat kafat letter in the second position, then you would not see a dot. So the nun just drops and you end up with these short forms. And you just have to be aware that these short forms are there. So you have gash or gesha. There's two alternatives here. Gash, gesha, gashi, geshu, gashna. But it's not really that difficult, is it? They do sound, at least these ones here, gashi, geshu, gashna, they sound pretty much like what you have in the strong verbs. This one is pretty short though, gash. Maybe you could think of it in terms of imperatives are something you want to sometimes say quickly. You want to get people to do things quickly, gash, so you shorten it up. I don't know, that's just a silly way to think about it, but sometimes silly ways are the best ways to remember things. Okay, so if the theme vowel is patach, you get the shortened imperatives. The nun drops, the fancy name for that is aphoresis, and the dagash in the gimel is a dagash lene, not a dagash forte. That's what I said here. This dagash here, that doesn't indicate assimilated nun. That's just there because it's a begat kafat letter. Okay, so we've dealt with holum. Holum is regular. Patach has the shortened forms. What about tzere? Well, tzere is really basically natan, and natan follows nagash. So it behaves it behaves like nagash. So it has the shortened forms as well. Shortened imperatives. So you end up with tain and tena. Tani, tenu, tena. But again, they don't sound that different. They're nice and short, and this dagash again at the beginning here, that's a dagash lene, because again we happen to have a begat kafat letter as a second radical. That's not indicating assimilated nun. Dagash forte, that is a dagash lene. Okay, natan with theme vowel tzere also has the shortened form, just like nagash. And natan is irregular. Well, we're fully aware of that one. Here I'm comparing just the three. I didn't put on pakad here because nafal is exactly like pakad. So we have nifol, nifli, niflu, nifolna. The shortened form, gash or gesha, gashi, geshu, gashna. You can see that they don't sound that different. Tain, tena, tani, tenu, tena. Right? So you have Nifli, Geshi, Tani. There's enough similarity there. Niflu, Geshu, Tanu. Okay, so that's the imperative. Some have short forms. The ones that have the patach and the tzere, which is basically natan, the ones that have the patach have the shortened forms, and holam has the regular form, just like the strong verb. Excuse me.